Good morning, VC. Sunday morning. It's contest day today, it seems. Man, there's a lot of contests going on, which is, I'm not complaining. I think it's great. I love supporting other people's channels. I love the fun of doing the contests, the idea of going and pulling records and CDs and talking about them and kind of getting creative. It's awesome. I love it. This one is for a new channel to me, Nick Rudow. I hope I'm pronouncing your last name properly, Nick. It's Nick, and then last name Rudow. Nick has a pretty cool channel. He's having a contest, it says, for 100 subscribers, but I look and see he's got 200 subscribers. So congratulations on 100 subscribers and congratulations on 200 subscribers. And I get the feeling in the next 7 minutes, by the time I finish this video, you're going to have 300. So very cool. Anyway, the contest. It is blind buys. 10 blind buys. What records did you buy just on, maybe someone said it's a good record, but you've never heard it. You saw it in a record store and intrigued you, just for whatever reason. I got a bunch here. Some of them are old ones because, you know what, when they came out 50 years ago, some of them were like brand new to me. Like, for instance, I bought this solely based on the cover. King Crimson. Court of the Crimson King. What a frickin' album, man. It just blew everybody away. Incredible record. One of my favorite records of all time. But how could you resist that cover? You're going, man, this has got to be cool. So, yeah, King Crimson and the Court of the Crimson King. Here's one I got recently that came out years ago, but I didn't know anything about it. A friend of mine mentioned it to me because I was a fan of Muddy Waters' Electric Mud album, and I was looking for a Howlin' Wolf album. And a buddy of mine said, hey, have you ever heard the one he did that's kind of like the sister to Electric Mud? It's kind of like psychedelic blues. So I bought this. This is Howlin' Wolf's new album. He doesn't like it. He didn't like his electric guitar at first either. This is a freaking great album, man. Most of the guitar work is really kind of a lot of wah-wah and stuff. It's like heavy blues rock, psychedelic rock meets traditional Chicago blues. It's a freaking great album. That was new to me just recently, and it's been out since for 50 years. Okay, my great friend Lisa Tedesco talked about this artist. Sight unseen, I just ordered a CD. Frazee Ford. This is called Indian Ocean. This woman can sing. She's a Canadian. Was in a band called the Be Good Tanyas. There's a couple other records that Lisa raves about that I'm going to get to. So, but because I'm really impressed with this. Recorded down south at, I don't think it's Muscle Shoals, or one of those kind of places like where they're famous for their R&B and soul and recordings and stuff. And this one, I think she does more singer-songwriter albums too, but this one is really heavily influenced in soul R&B stuff. Great album. Frazee Ford, Indian Ocean. Back in the 90s, I got into jazz through bluegrass because all the bluegrass heroes that I had all kind of progressed to doing jazz grass or whatever. So I started hearing like Bale Fleck and David Grisman and guys like that doing their interpretations of jazz, and that's all I knew about jazz. But it got me to the point where I was really interested. And I was sitting chatting with a guy one night, and he was a big jazz fan. And I said, so if I want to get into jazz, what's the first album I should buy? And he said, this one. So I bought it, not having a clue. Miles Davis Kind of Blue. And, first listen, I'm going, okay, I see something there. And then listen again and again and again. And just, obviously, I don't have to tell you what a classic album this is. But Miles Davis Kind of Blue was a blind buy for me. Then after I heard that and thought, okay, I'm starting to get this jazz thing a little bit, I went on the internet and I just Googled top 10 jazz albums of all time. Then things started to come up. Here's another one I bought just because it was rated the second best jazz album of all time on whatever list I was looking at. Charles Mingus. Oh my God, what an album that is. Anyway, Fantastic album. Great, great album. Great cover, too. I love the artwork. Okay. I found this in Buffalo, New York in a used record store for $1. And I thought, just the name on it and seeing the picture of this guy with his guitar freaked me out. Papa Chubby. Have you ever heard of this guy? Papa Chubby Live. Hit the High Hard One. Oh my God, can this guy play a guitar? He is just a ripping frickin' blues rock guitar player. Fantastic, gruff voice, just like you'd think he'd be. And it's a really good album. Papa Chubby Live. Check him out on YouTube. Papa Chubby. My good friend Steve Carlson. Hey Steve. He talked about this album last year. You know, Steve always comes up with these weird frickin' albums out of nowhere. I don't know how he finds them, but Black Market Brass. The album is called Undying Thirst. It is heavy brass, percussion, African jazz. I don't know how to even describe it, but there's a ton of guys in the band, and a really cool album. Undying Thirst, Black Market Brass. Okay. I bought myself, I don't know how many, back in the around 2000 probably or something. I bought myself, or somewhere in the early 2000s, an Oppo Universal CD player, Blu-ray, SACD. Started getting into SACDs and audiophile CDs. I was in between vinyl collecting at that point, so it was 100% CD buying, and I was looking for, you know, good recordings. And I started to say, hey, what's the same thing I did with the jazz? I went, what are the best sounding SACDs? And this one came up overwhelmingly as the best one. Patricia Barber, Cafe Blue. Now I went to look for this $100 CD. I'm going, oh my God, I can't afford that. So I can't remember how I ended up finding it at a good price, but I did, and I grabbed it, and I freaking love this album. And does it sound beautiful? I think there is one, I don't know if it's a one step coming out now of this album, but incredible. I would love Michael at 45 RPM audiophile to showcase this if he has it on vinyl. I'm going to have to ask him to do that. Cafe Blue, one of the greatest sounding records ever made. Get it on vinyl, even just an OG copy. If you can get a MoFi, but I'm telling you, will blow you away. Patricia Barber, Cafe Blue. My good friend Shannon Talks Music. She's a big fan of this band, and because of her passion, I ended up ordering it. I found a CD in a used CD store. The Waterboys. This was the best of. It's a great, great album. I love it. I've never paid any attention to the Waterboys whatsoever. Shannon, thanks for turning me on to them. This is the only one I have, but my good friend Randy Nelson, at Randall Nelson, he did a response video last night, and he showed a Waterboys album called This Is the Sea, and he says that's his favorite. So immediately I go on Amazon or whatever thinking I'm going to order this record or CD. You couldn't get it. The record, there was one available from a third-party seller for $174. So then I went to this CD store that has 2 or 3 outlets in west of Toronto called The Beat Goes On. Jamie Cottle, I'm sure, is more than familiar with this place. They had a CD of This Is the Sea for $9.99, so I ordered it. I've also been looking for a Big Mama Thornton album, can't find one anywhere, and they had a CD, just a comp, I think, from Big Mama Thornton, so I ordered the 2 CDs. But yeah, the Waterboys, thanks to Randy and to Shannon. Sitting in a club one night called Hughes Room in Toronto. Great place. It's like a nightclub. They serve dinner, drinks, small intimate venue, and they have great artists come in there, man. And they had Martin Barr from Jethro Tull, the Martin Barr band, and I jumped at a chance to get tickets and reservations. My wife and I went. We were there pretty early because you know, you sit and have a drink and you have dinner and all that before the show starts. and start chatting up the guy beside me, and we're both music fans, and he tells me the next night he was going to see Hiromi. And I'm going, what the hell's Hiromi? And he tells me she's this jazz or Japanese jazz pianist who you have to see to believe. So immediately I go online, I'm hooked. I've never heard a note from Hiromi. Now I have every one of her albums. Saw her in Montreal at the Jazz Festival. She's an incredible performer. What energy. She's like Jerry Lee Lewis and Chick Corea all in one. She's amazing. Hiromi. If you get a chance to Google or YouTube search her, she is unbelievable. If you're a jazz fan, you're going to love this artist, Hiromi. One more. I showed this in my last contest thing for Brain Twang. Peter Case. Blue guitar, we'll leave it at that. Great, great Roots album. So, I'm reading a local Toronto paper one day back in the 80s called the Globe and Mail. It's kind of Canada's national newspaper. And they had some record reviews. And they were reviewing this. And I'm going, I don't know who Peter Case is. I knew nothing. But it mentions that Ry Cooder was a guest on one of the songs. And Ry Cooder's my favorite guitar player. You just have to say Ry, and I'm either going for a drink or I'm going for a record. So I bought it just because of that, and it is a freaking great album. I love Peter Case ever since. He's got a ton of albums out. He's a great performer, great guitar player, piano. He's just a great songwriter. This is a fantastic album. I got a chance to meet Peter a few times working at folk festivals and stuff in my lifetime, and I actually told him how I discovered him, and he was really impressed by that. Yeah, very cool, Peter Case. Nick, great contest. Sorry, I've gone 12 minutes, buddy, so I'm going to let you go. Peace out, everyone. Have a great day. Go Chiefs today in the Super Bowl.